Oh, another special infected profile? Man, this should be easy.
That must be the feller who masturbates all day long.
That must be the feller who masturbates all day long. Feller who masturbates. Feller who masturbates.
Well, we got that joke out of the way. Welcome to the Special Infected Profiles, where we do an analysis on each special infected on why a normal person would mutate into these homicidal beasts, a little bit of trivia, and some tips and tricks on how to use them somewhat effectively in versus mode. This week, as you can guess by the start of the video and the thumbnail, is the heavy-handed one-arm specialist cowboy country boy himself. Please don't charge me with neglect for not posting this sooner. This week, we're gonna charge you up with Special Infected Profile, the Charger. At first glance, some could consider the Charger to be a victim to a new strain of gigantism that may have been adversely affected by the green flu epidemic, not only by the fact that his right arm is gigantic, but also how his left foot has grown enough to rip his pants and to look like an actual deformed case of gigantism. The increase in muscle mass in its left leg may be the reasoning as to how it can suddenly propel itself forward in a non-stop charge. Its left leg gaining the gigantism strain would help to balance the body and its top right half out so it wouldn't teeter over like a weeble wobble. Although similar to the tank in terms of height and a similar strength output and arm width, the Charger is still in the same league as his other lower special infected companions. Whether or not the Charger is a smaller, different strain of the tank's mutation is never really brought up. A major difference between the tank and Charger is the fact that the Charger can support all of his upper body weight without having to lean over too much. The tank also having no chin, while the Charger has lost a majority of the flesh on its skull as well. The Charger's most recognizable attribute being its gigantic arm, which looks like a gigantic scab just being ready to be picked. Or maybe that's just me. I picked my scabs as a kid. Don't tell me I'm the only one. Come on, it was satisfying to pick those scabs off. I can't be the only one, man. Anyways, but the Charger's main form of attack has caused his arm to become a battleground of scars, cuts, bruises, calluses, and injuries, enough to make the arm a literal battering ram, which can cause a preceding smack or pound to be effective for extended periods of time without wearing out the flesh. Now, with one arm becoming a literal piece of armor, the other had to be balanced, or else the AI director would feel it to be a bit too OP, as well as genetics. The right arm's taking so much of the body's muscle mass left the left arm of the Charger to be shriveled up and look like it was a deflated balloon. It's safe to say the Charger has no control over its left arm, since it will limp around mindlessly as the Charger navigates through the apocalyptic hellscape. As I said earlier, the Charger probably is the most zombie-looking character when it comes to his face, with literally half its face rotted or maybe torn or ripped off. It also has bloodstains from what may have been vomit all over its chest and barely any teeth remaining in its mouth. These all may be from the sheer force of slamming into objects at such high speeds so frequently. However, beyond its bodily appearance and functions, the Charger sports a half-worn pair of overalls, leading fans to speculate that he is some sort of southern country boy, or at least a plumber. Or maybe he was one of the Marios that fell to his death? Early models and designs for the Charger lean towards giving it kind of a T-Rex inspired design, with a giant cranium and two small arms for literally headbutting survivors head on. Another late design gave it a hulking but three-armed animal-like persona and kind of a fat pink persona. But like I said in the Hunter video, Valve wanted to steer away from making infected animal creatures and leave the green flu exclusively to human hosts. Remnants of these designs will still resonate in the fact that the Charger has three appendages that function properly, and in the Charger's distinctive sounds and animalistic screeches. The Charger will give out a raspy yell when spawned in. To me, he kinda sounds like a mix of a velociraptor calling for help and a zombie cow. The Charger will give similar sound cues while running around. When it spots a survivor, it will give an alert tone. And most noticeably, when charging, will squeal like a pig. Make sure to have an attack ready to go right after you spawn, since the Charger is one of the loudest infected and can give away its position most prominently. On that note, let's go ahead and look at some tips and tricks to using the Charger effectively in versus mode, and also how to combat them in all other modes. Okay, to start things off, the Charger has two different attacks. Its main charge that causes 10 damage upon the initial hit from the charge, and additional 10 damage if it hits a wall, bringing it with one survivor until a wall or certain distance is achieved, with a preceding 15 points of damage every time the Charger lands a successful pound. If any other survivors are hit after an initial person is grabbed, they will be flung into the air and take 10 points of impact damage. Unless the people being flung in the air are at a high altitude, then they will take the preceding fall damage as well. Its secondary attack, the Scratch, causes 10 points per hit, so rushing in on a low health survivor and simply hitting them would prove to be effective. Now, this is all in versus stats. The different damage I'm not factoring for expert and beyond. You can look that up. The Charger cannot change its direction once it has committed to its charge, and will continue to charge in a single direction until it hits a wall, or will eventually peter out if it runs long enough. Now, this is very important to note, considering even my friends will forget this and then blame the game for being old and buggy, but if you are right up against a survivor after jumping in for a surprise attack and you attempt to charge, you will not succeed, and the Charger will act as if the survivor is a brick wall, stun, and no charge will happen. It's kind of sad to see. If a Charger starts a charge from above the survivors and hits them from the air, their Charger will actually stop its charge just like a hunter might with a pounce, and he will instantly start the pounding sequence without actually going forward at all. When a Charger hits the surface without having a survivor in his clutches, he will take a minimal 4 points of self-inflicted damage just from the impact. Any players, special infected, or survivors nearby will be stunned from the impact for a moment as well. It's important to note when the Charger stumbles after a failed charge to a wall, he will be vulnerable for just a short period, so be sure to get in as much damage as possible before he can either escape or get a petty sucker punch in. AI controlled Chargers will spend a longer amount of time stumbling, about 2.5 seconds compared to a 1 second long stumble from a player controlled Charger. Now, this only pertains to campaign Chargers, not versus bot Chargers. So if you're sure you see a Charger being played by a bot, you have a little more leeway to try to gun them down when they fail a charge. Just be wary, since AI controlled infected seem to be ungodly quick to hit you with their secondary attacks, even if they're not facing you. When facing a Charger, it's important to note something right off the bat. If you don't already know this, learn it now. You cannot shove a Charger off a survivor. The only way you can get a Charger to stop pounding someone to death is to either kill it, try a melee weapon. They will kill a Charger in 2 swings at full health, or if you're playing any other mode besides versus, the explosive rounds to stumble it. Explosive rounds were removed from versus mode years back in order to balance the play just a little bit. You can also blow up propane tanks and the fire canisters and the sacrifice near the Charger to cause it to stumble, but that's purely situational. If you hear a Charger spawn in, make sure you and your team are not lined up in a linear military formation, or else you will all be laid out flat. If you're in a long, small corridor of a hallway and a Charger comes, try to hug the wall to the best of your abilities, opposite of any survivors, to limit the amount of casualties from a single charge. If at least one person is unaffected by the charge, you at least have the chance to spend the time to gun down the attacking Charger. If you do find yourself face to face with a Charger, make sure to strafe left and right, and to keep your distance from the Charger as much as possible. The wider the distance between you two, the better chance you have at dodging the one direction attacker. Try to keep a melee weapon handy when facing a Charger up close. If they fail a charge, they may become desperate to land some sort of damage and will rush nearby survivors if they have to. If you have a shotgun, however, just unload. The shotgun and melee can lay out about the same damage in the same amount of time against the Charger. The Charger being the only small playable special infected that can survive more than one melee swing. Now, when playing as the Charger, you have a lot more factors to work with. Like I said earlier, Chargers love long, narrow corridors that force force a team to line up in tight spaces. The spitter is one of the Charger's best friends, since the spit can tack on nicely to a survivor getting tenderized. Even if the Charger is killed while a spitter puddle is active, the animation of the survivor getting up will still take over 2 seconds, which in terms of spitter damage can equate to a huge chunk of their health bar. The Charger is also one of the 4 pinning infected, so keep this in mind. Besides the mandatory statement of attacking a survivor if they are on their own, always keep in mind to help out other pinning infected by attacking survivors that are coming to the aid of a fellow survivor who is jockeyed, smoked, or hunted. But keep in mind, the Charger can disrupt the attacks of other infected easily in 2 different ways. If a special infected is attacking near a solid surface and the Charger hits a wall nearby the special infected will be stunned at that moment and the survivor will be freed momentarily. The Charger also has the ability to snag a victim away from a jockey or smoker. As I said with the hunter though, if a smoker or jockey is successful in their attack, they could be facing very high recharge times. Charging a jockeyed or smoked survivor in a beneficial moment is completely situational. If a survivor is strayed from his flock and someone is jockeying them, it would be better for you to charge the jockey's victim so the jockey won't face the excruciating 30-second recharge time after downing the survivor. The jockey can then proceed to protect you while you pound the survivor into minced meat. Besides pretty much stealing from the smoker, you can help the smoker out and add to his damage in certain situations. In a panic state, if the survivors are distracted or too far, instead of charging a smoked survivor, you can proceed to literally turn the suffocating survivor into a punching bag. With the survivor unable to defend themselves, the Charger can easily throw these hands all over them, landing 10 points per hit. It can bring a full health survivor down in a matter of seconds. Just make sure while you're beating the life out of them to keep an eye on your surroundings and to charge anyone that may approach your prey. The Charger can also benefit from a boomer's puke. If numerous survivors are boomed, you can try charging a survivor that isn't boomed and get away from the crowd. Since the blinded survivors can't see where their friend has been taken away to, while the infected horde beats into them and they are no longer blind, they will struggle to land a clear shot with all the fists flying. Now, I certainly couldn't forget the main reason people love the Charger and why he is so important and scary in many critical situations. It's simple. Insta-kills, baby!
My contract says I have
to. There is a Charger. So no. The whole reason the Charger is in my top 3 infected isn't just because of its pure bulk, but because it can literally excommunicate someone from the game in a split second. If you can charge someone to a point where they are outside the map, whether it be an 80-foot drop into a body of water or other miscellaneous out-of-bounds areas, you will be rewarded with 300 points on your damage meter after a successful insta-kill. And killing a survivor that quickly will reduce their point gains by a decent chunk as well. Landing these insta-kills can be sometimes a bit tricky, especially since you need to guesstimate where the survivor will be leading them. If you charge too early or too late, or are off by a few meters, rather than getting pissed off at how buggy and laggy the game is, try to coordinate with your team. If a smoker or jockey can pull someone in front of an insta-kill spot, you can proceed to easily charge the victim and clinch that kill. A jockey or smoker can also force the survivor over a ledge, wait for a teammate of theirs to start picking up a teammate, and during that animation of picking someone up, use that opportunity to charge them off as well. A perfect practice ground for these strategies is the first chapter of Dead Center. Since versus campaigns can end quickly, and since the insta-kill spots are so close to spawn, you can easily practice your insta-kills and then watch as people rage quit on the first chapter of a campaign. And now for some random trivia, I'm just going to read off the Left 4 Dead Wikia. In the Swamp Fever first chapter, you can see a Charger set up like the Lambda symbol right before you get across the river. Also, if the Charger is actually pounding someone in a certain area, like if you're in a hallway or there's a roof above your head, the Charger will slam them on top of the roof, or if they're in front of a wall, will slam their head into the wall. The Charger is the second most favorite special infected, coming in at 17% of the votes back in a vote that was conducted back in May of 2010. Well, that's the end of this charge of battery and assault. Did I miss anything about the charger? Oh, Cake's gonna bring this up real quick. How come the charger doesn't take fall damage? I guess because he has gigantism in his feet. That's gonna be a recurring theme. Cake keeps telling me since the hunter doesn't take fall damage, how come the other special infected don't take fall damage? Well, I'm gonna bring that up every time. Gigantism in the feet for the charger, that's why it doesn't take damage. Anyways, if I missed anything, let me know in the comments, and also like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Don't forget to donate to my Patreon to vote for which special infected should be next. And I've also got merch. I got that on the screen right now. Just go to teespring.com/wildsuchgaming. We got some more shirts on the way soon, but go ahead and get you a Rest Index t-shirt today. Anyways, until next time, let's see what the next special infected will be on the next special infected profiles here on Wild Such Gaming. And don't forget, I'm Zack. Stay wild.